Every morning before the sun rises, before the world demands your attention, there is a quiet moment. A moment where you are alone with your thoughts. What you tell yourself in that moment decides the direction of your day and often the direction of your life. Too many people wake up thinking about problems, bills, mistakes, and fears. And then they wonder why the day feels heavy. But what if you decided to speak power into your mornings? What if your first thoughts carried hope instead of worry, courage instead of fear? Today, I want to share with you 10 powerful things to tell yourself every morning. Words that can shape your mindset, fuel your dreams, and help you face life with strength and clarity. I am capable. When you wake up in the morning, the first voice you hear is your own. Before the messages from the outside world reach you, before the news, before the opinions of others, before the problems and challenges of the day arrive, there is a moment when you talk to yourself, and what you say in that moment matters more than you realize. For many people, the first thought is worry. How will I get through today? Or fear, what if I fail again? Or even self-doubt, I don't think I'm good enough for this. And that inner conversation shapes everything that follows, because your mind is like soil. It will grow whatever seeds you plant. If you plant fear, fear will grow. If you plant doubt, doubt will grow. But if you plant belief, confidence, and courage, you give yourself the strength to rise above the day's challenges. That is why the first thing you must tell yourself every morning is simple yet powerful: I am capable. Think about this. Every person you admire, every success story you have ever heard, every entrepreneur, artist, leader, or inventor who has changed the world began their journey the same way you begin yours. Waking up each day with uncertainty, facing problems that seemed bigger than them, hearing voices that told them it was impossible. They were not born knowing the future. They were not guaranteed success. The difference was that somewhere deep inside, they carried the belief that they could do it. Even when things were falling apart, even when no one believed in them, they chose to believe in themselves. And belief is not magic. It does not make life easy. But it gives you the strength to try, the courage to keep going when others quit, and the resilience to rise again after failure. When you tell yourself, I am capable, you are not ignoring reality. You are not pretending that life will be perfect or that challenges will disappear. You are simply choosing to believe that no matter what comes your way, you have the ability to figure it out, to learn, to adapt, and to grow until you find a way forward. Too often, people wait until life gets easy before they believe in themselves. But the truth is the opposite: life gets easier when you start believing. Because when you carry self-belief, problems become puzzles instead of roadblocks. Failure becomes feedback instead of final defeat. And criticism becomes noise instead of a verdict on your future. There will always be voices telling you that you are not ready, not smart enough, not talented enough, not connected enough. And sometimes the loudest voice will be your own self, doubt whispering in your ear. But the people who achieve great things are not the ones who never hear doubt. They are the ones who talk back to it. They are the ones who wake up, look in the mirror, and declare, I am capable. I may not have all the answers yet, but I have the courage to start. I may not be perfect, but I have the determination to learn. I may not control everything, but I can control my effort, my focus, and my attitude. And those three things, effort, focus, and attitude, are often the difference between giving up and breaking through. So every morning, before the world tries to tell you who you are, tell yourself who you are becoming. Speak to your future with confidence, because the most important person who needs to believe in you is you. Today is a gift. Every single morning, the moment you open your eyes, life gives you something priceless, something so valuable that no amount of money can buy it, no amount of power can control it, and no amount of regret can bring it back once it's gone. That something is called today. The sad truth is most people don't see it that way. They wake up already stressed about what they have to do, complaining about how tired they are, worrying about the mistakes they made yesterday, or dreading the challenges they might face tomorrow. They treat this new day, this fresh chance at life, as though it were ordinary, as though it were guaranteed, as though it had no real value. But the reality is far different. Someone, somewhere in the world, did not get the gift you just received this morning. Someone took their last breath last night. Someone ran out of time. Someone would give anything for just one more sunrise, one more chance to hug the people they love, to fix what they broke, to chase the dream they kept postponing. Yet here you are, given the chance they no longer have. That alone should fill your heart with gratitude before you even take your first sip of coffee. When you wake up and tell yourself today is a gift, you are reminding yourself to stop sleepwalking through life, to stop living as though there will always be more time. Because the truth is, none of us knows how many days we have left. We plan for the future, we dream about the future, but the only thing we are ever promised is the moment we have right now. That doesn't mean you should live recklessly or carelessly. It means you should live consciously, fully aware that each day is an opportunity to build, to grow, to love, to give, to experience everything this life has to offer. Think about how often people postpone happiness. They tell themselves, I'll be happy when I make more money. I'll be happy when I buy that house. I'll be happy when I reach that goal. But when they finally get there, they simply set another condition for happiness and keep waiting. Life keeps passing by while they are waiting for the perfect moment to enjoy it. The truth is, there is no perfect moment coming in the future. There is only this moment, this day, right now. And the people who live the richest, most meaningful lives are not the ones who have the most wealth or the easiest circumstances. They are the ones who learn to see the value in what they already have while working for what they want. When you tell yourself today is a gift, you begin to notice the small blessings that so many people take for granted. The fact that you can see the sunlight streaming through your window, hear the laughter of a child, taste your favorite meal, feel the embrace of someone who cares about you, or simply breathe without pain. You start realizing that even on difficult days, there is something worth being grateful for. A lesson learned, a moment of laughter, a friend who stood by you, or even the strength you discovered within yourself when things got tough. Gratitude doesn't erase challenges, but it changes how you carry them. It keeps you from drowning in negativity by reminding you that even in the storm, there is something good, something worth holding on to. So when you open your eyes each morning, don't just rush into the day as though it owes you something. Pause for a moment, take a deep breath, look around, and tell yourself with conviction, today is a gift, and I will not waste it. I will learn and grow. Everyday life hands you experiences. Some feel like blessings, others feel like storms you never asked for. Some days bring victory and excitement, while others bring disappointment and frustration that make you question whether you are even moving forward at all. But here's a truth most people overlook. Growth rarely comes wrapped in comfort. It doesn't arrive through easy victories or smooth paths. The lessons that shape your character, strengthen your mind, and prepare you for greater opportunities almost always come disguised as challenges, obstacles, or even failures. That is why every morning, before you step out into the world, you must tell yourself with confidence and determination, I will learn and grow. When you carry this mindset, you stop looking at problems as punishments and start seeing them as teachers. You stop running from difficulties and start asking what they are trying to teach you. Because the reality is, every challenge holds a lesson that can make you wiser, stronger, and more capable if you are willing to learn from it instead of simply resenting it. Too often people waste energy wishing their problems away instead of using them as fuel to rise higher. They say, why me? Why is this happening? But what if the better question was, what can this teach me? How can I grow through this? That simple shift in thinking can turn a setback into a stepping stone, a failure into a foundation for future success. Think about the people you admire most in life. The ones whose stories inspire you, the ones you look at and say, I wish I had their strength, their wisdom, their success. Almost every one of them has walked through seasons of struggle that could have broken them. They have faced rejections, failures, criticism, and moments when nothing seemed to work. What made the difference was not that life was easier for them. It was that they chose to learn instead of quit. They let the challenges sharpen their skills, deepen their perspective, and toughen their spirit. When you wake up and tell yourself, I will learn and grow, you give yourself permission to fail without feeling like a failure. You understand that mistakes are not the end of the road, but part of the process. The most successful people in history were not the ones who never fell. They were the ones who refused to stay down. Thomas Edison famously said, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. That mindset is what kept him going until the light bulb was finally born. If he had looked at failure as final, we might still be living in darkness. Growth also requires humility, the willingness to admit you don't know everything yet, and the openness to learn from anywhere, at any time. Too many people let pride stop them from asking questions or seeking help, and as a result, they stay stuck in the same place for years. But those who keep growing understand that every person you meet, every experience you go through, every obstacle you face carries wisdom if you are humble enough to receive it. So each morning when you declare, "I will learn and grow," you are not just making a promise to survive the day. You are committing to becoming better because of the day. You are telling yourself that no matter what comes, whether it looks like success or failure on the surface, you will walk away with lessons that make you stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the future. I will stay focused. Every single day the world will compete for your attention. From the moment you wake up, your phone lights up with notifications, the news fills your mind with noise, social media throws countless images and opinions at you, and people around you pull you in different directions. It has never been easier to be distracted, to lose sight of what truly matters, to spend your energy on things that do not bring you closer to your dreams. And yet the people who achieve extraordinary things are rarely the ones with the most resources, the most talent, or even the most opportunities. More often than not, they are the ones who learned the art of focus, the ability to keep their eyes on the goal while the world tries to drag their attention everywhere else. That is why every morning, before the chaos of the day begins, you must tell yourself with conviction, "I will stay focused." Because here is the truth: distractions do not always look like distractions. Sometimes they come dressed as opportunities. Sometimes they come wrapped in the opinions of others, telling you what you should do, who you should be, or where you should go. If you are not careful, you will spend your life chasing things that do not align with your purpose, saying yes to things that steal your energy, but give you nothing in return, and trying to please everyone except the person in the mirror. Staying focused means you learn to say no to what does not serve your growth, no matter how tempting it looks, so you can say yes to the things that truly matter. When you wake up and remind yourself, "I will stay focused," you are not just talking about avoiding distractions on your phone or wasting time on things that don't matter. You are making a promise to yourself that you will not let fear, doubt, or negativity pull you away from the path you have chosen. Because focus is not only about where you put your time, it is about where you put your energy, your thoughts, your emotions, and your faith. Too many people start the day with big dreams, but lose their focus the moment things get difficult. They allow criticism to stop them, comparison to discourage them, or failure to convince them they are not good enough. But those who stay focused understand that storms may slow you down, but they do not have to change your direction. Think about an archer aiming at a target. When he pulls back the bow, his eyes are locked on the center. It doesn't matter if people are shouting in the crowd, if the wind is blowing, or if someone tries to distract him. His focus remains on the goal. That is what it takes to build something meaningful in life. You will always have noise around you, always have people who doubt you, always have moments where giving up feels easier than pushing forward. But the ones who reach the target are the ones who refuse to look away from it. Staying focused also means learning to guard your mind. If you fill your head with negativity, fear, and endless comparisons to what others are doing, you will lose the mental clarity you need to move forward. Your focus will scatter, your confidence will weaken, and your motivation will fade. But when you feed your mind with positivity, with reminders of your vision, with thoughts that build courage instead of fear, you give yourself the power to stay on track even when the path feels long and lonely. So each morning, as you prepare to face the demands of the day, declare to yourself, "I will stay focused." Because a distracted mind will always lead to a wasted life, but a focused heart can move mountains. I am responsible for my happiness. One of the biggest mistakes people make in life is handing over the keys to their happiness to someone else. They believe happiness will come when someone loves them the way they want to be loved, when their boss finally appreciates them, when their family understands them, or when the world treats them the way they think it should. But here is the truth most people avoid facing. If your happiness depends on the actions, opinions, or approval of others, you will spend your entire life waiting for a day that may never come. Every morning, before you step into the noise of the world, you must remind yourself, I am responsible for my happiness. This simple sentence is powerful because it forces you to take ownership of your emotions and your life. Too many people live like passengers, waiting for someone else to drive them to joy, peace, or fulfillment. They think, I will be happy when I get married, or I will be happy when I buy that car, or I will be happy when my boss finally respects me. But what happens when those things don't arrive on schedule? Or worse, what if they arrive and still leave you feeling empty? The truth is, happiness built on external circumstances will always be fragile because circumstances can change in a second. Real happiness has to come from within, from the way you choose to see the world, the meaning you attach to your experiences, and the thoughts you allow to live in your mind. When you wake up and declare, I am responsible for my happiness, you stop waiting for the perfect day, the perfect job, or the perfect relationship to make you feel whole. You take control of your inner world no matter what is happening in your outer world. And this doesn't mean you ignore pain or pretend problems don't exist. It means you understand that joy is a decision, not a destination. You can be facing challenges and still choose gratitude. You can be surrounded by negativity and still decide not to let it live inside you. Think about it, two people can go through the exact same situation. Losing a job, facing criticism, dealing with setbacks, and one person becomes bitter, angry, and defeated while the other uses the experience as fuel to grow, to learn, to come back stronger. What is the difference? It is not the situation, it is the mindset. One person gives away their emotional power to the circumstance. The other keeps it by choosing how to respond. When you put your happiness in someone else's hands, you're giving them the power to control your mood, your energy, and even your future. And the problem with relying on others for happiness is that people are imperfect. They will disappoint you, misunderstand you, even hurt you sometimes. But when you take full responsibility for your own joy, you become unshaken by things you cannot control. You realize that peace comes not from everything going right, but from learning how to stay right within yourself even when things around you go wrong. Every morning, when you remind yourself, I am responsible for my happiness, you are reclaiming the power most people give away. You are saying, I choose how I show up today. I choose my attitude. I choose to see the good even when life feels heavy. I choose to protect my peace because it is mine to protect. And when you make that choice day after day, you build a kind of strength the world cannot take from you. I will not let yesterday control today. Too many people wake up each morning carrying the heavy weight of yesterday on their shoulders. They carry the regret of what they said, the disappointment of what they failed to do, the pain of what someone else did to them, or the embarrassment of mistakes they wish they could erase. They replay old conversations in their minds, relive moments they can't change, and wonder what might have been if only things had turned out differently. And because of this, even though a new day begins, they keep living in the shadow of the old one. But here is the truth: if you spend today chained to yesterday, you rob yourself of the chance to create something better. That is why every morning, before your feet even touch the ground, you must remind yourself with conviction, I will not let yesterday control today. This mindset is powerful because it forces you to separate who you were from who you are becoming. Yesterday may have brought failure, but failure is an event, not a person. You are not your mistakes. You are not your bad decisions. You are not the pain someone else caused you. Yet so many people let the past define them instead of refine them. They carry shame, guilt, or anger as though it were part of their identity, when in reality it is just part of their story. And stories can change when you start writing new chapters. Think about how many dreams die because people can't let go of a bad yesterday. They let one failure convince them they will always fail. They let one heartbreak convince them they are unworthy of love. They let one bad decision convince them they will never make better ones. But your past does not have the right to control your future unless you give it permission. The only power yesterday has is the power you keep handing back to it through constant replay, regret, and self-blame. When you wake up and declare, I will not let yesterday control today, you are making a decision to live in the present instead of being a prisoner of the past. This does not mean you ignore the lessons of yesterday. It means you refuse to let them steal the opportunities of today. You take the wisdom, leave the weight, and step forward lighter, stronger, and wiser than before. Because holding on to yesterday's pain is like carrying bags of rocks while trying to run a race. You will get tired, slow down, and eventually quit. Letting go doesn't mean what happened was okay. It doesn't mean it didn't matter. It means you choose freedom over bondage, healing over resentment, and possibility over regret. The past has a way of whispering lies if you let it. It says, because you failed before, you will fail again. It says, because someone hurt you before, everyone will hurt you. It says, because you made mistakes, you don't deserve another chance. But the past is not a prophet. It cannot tell you what your future holds. Only your choices today can do that. And when you carry yesterday's pain into today, you are letting old wounds write the script for a day that hasn't even begun. Every morning, when you tell yourself, I will not let yesterday control today, you give yourself permission to stop replaying old scenes and start creating new ones. You remind yourself that your future does not have to look like your past unless you refuse to turn the page. I will keep moving forward. Life has a way of throwing obstacles in your path when you least expect them. You can have the best plans, the strongest ambitions, and the clearest vision of where you want to go, and suddenly something happens that shakes your confidence, slows your progress, or leaves you questioning whether the dream is even worth chasing. Maybe it's a failure you didn't see coming. Maybe it's criticism from people who don't understand your journey. Maybe it's a season where nothing seems to be working no matter how hard you try. And in those moments, it becomes tempting to stop moving altogether, to sit down in the middle of your path and say, maybe this is where I give up. But every morning, when the weight of yesterday threatens to hold you back and the challenges of today seem overwhelming, you must declare with determination, I will keep moving forward. Because here is the truth. Progress is not always loud, and it is not always obvious. Some days it looks like big victories, milestones reached, goals achieved, dreams coming to life. But other days, progress is as simple as refusing to quit when quitting would be easier. It is taking one more step when you feel like standing still. It is choosing to rise out of bed when discouragement tells you to stay down. Even the smallest steps matter because they keep you in motion, and motion is what eventually leads to breakthroughs. Too many people give up because they measure their progress only by visible results. If they can't see success right away, they assume nothing is happening. But growth often works in silence. Seeds take time to break through the soil. Muscles grow slowly through repeated effort. Skills develop after countless hours of practice. The person who keeps moving forward, even when the results are not immediate, is the one who eventually reaches places others only dream about. When you tell yourself, I will keep moving forward, you are making a decision to refuse paralysis by analysis, to refuse letting fear freeze you in place. You will face times when you don't have all the answers, when the road ahead looks uncertain, when people doubt you, or when you doubt yourself. But clarity often comes through action. Momentum is built by movement, not by waiting for the perfect conditions. If you keep moving, you give yourself the chance to learn, to adjust, to get better as you go. Think about anyone who has ever achieved something significant. Behind every story of success are countless chapters where nothing seemed to work, where failure seemed louder than hope, where the easiest thing would have been to stop, but they kept going. They faced rejection and still kept creating. They experienced loss and still kept believing. They made mistakes and still kept learning. What separated them from those who quit was not luck, not genius, but persistence. The willingness to keep moving forward no matter how heavy life felt. There will be moments when people misunderstand your journey. They might say you're wasting your time, or that your dreams are unrealistic, or that you should be further ahead by now. But the people who change their lives, and sometimes even the world, are the ones who do not stop simply because others do not see what they see. They understand that forward is forward, no matter how small the steps feel today. Every morning, when you remind yourself, I will keep moving forward, you give yourself permission to outlast the doubts, to outwalk the fears, to outlive the failures. Because as long as you are moving, you are not stuck. And as long as you are not stuck, your story is not over. As you rise each morning, the words you speak to yourself become the foundation of the day ahead. You have declared that you are capable, that today is a gift, that you will learn and grow, that you will stay focused, that you are responsible for your own happiness, that yesterday will not control today, and that you will keep moving forward no matter what comes your way. These are not just empty words, they are promises to yourself. They are the shields that protect you when life gets hard and the fuel that keeps your fire alive when the world tries to put it out. Because the truth is, the day will bring challenges. It will bring noise, distractions, and moments that test your courage. But when you start your morning with conviction, with gratitude, with focus, and with unstoppable determination, you carry into the world a mindset that nothing can break. Remember, life is not shaped by what happens to you nearly as much as it is shaped by how you choose to respond. And every morning you are given the chance to choose again. Choose belief over fear. Choose focus over distraction. Choose joy over bitterness. Choose forward over standing still. So tomorrow when the sun rises, let your first words be words of power, words of faith, words that remind you who you are and what you are capable of becoming. Because when you win the morning, you give yourself the best chance to win the day. And when you win enough days, you change your life.